So what we next have in the exercise part is answer the following questions. So here are some questions about what we have learned in the lesson and we need to answer them. First question, what is climate? What do you mean by a climate? The average weather condition of a place over a long period of time is called a climate. So the average weather conditions of a place which is assessed over a long period of time is called a climate. Okay. Second one, what is the difference between weather and climate? How is weather different from climate? How is weather different from climate? See, weather is the condition of the atmosphere of a place at a shorter period of time. It can change from day to day. Weather is a change that is happening for a shorter period of time. It can even change from day to day. The weather conditions that we have today may not exist tomorrow. It can go to the next level or it can come up downwards. Okay. Climate is the average weather condition of a place over a longer period of time. Climate keeps on changing. It does not remain constant at a place. But when it comes to climate, it's the average weather conditions over a period of time. Say for 3 months, we say, okay, it will be very hot. The climate is changing into hot. And before the rainy season, after 3 months, we say, now it's going to change again. There are changes in the climate. Okay, so in the same way, climate is the average weather condition of a place over a long period of time. Climate keeps on changing. It also do undergo changing. Right? It does not remain constant at all places. It cannot be mentioned as something constant. What? Weather conditions. Okay. So climate are also changing just like that of weather conditions. The difference is weather has much more a shorter duration of change, whereas the climate has a longer duration of change. Third one, which factors influence weather and the climate? So what are the factors that are affected by weather and the climate, or which influences weather and the climate? Temperature, distance from the equator, altitude above the sea level, distance from the sea, direction of winds are the factors that influence weather and the climate. So what are the factors? Temperature of the place. Then distance from the equator. Equator is hotter. As we go deeper, it becomes cooler. Altitude above the sea level. As we go up, the temperature decreases. Distance from the sea. The sea coast area has a comparatively moderate climate, but interior regions have an extreme climate. Direction of wind. So the direction, if the wind regularly flows in a particular direction, then those regions, it's quite difficult to have hotter climates because every time it will bring some or other clouds. Right? So temperature, distance from equator, altitude above sea level, distance from the sea, direction of winds are the factors that influence weather and the climate. Right? So I'll read these questions once again. What is climate? The average weather condition of a place over a long period of time is called the climate. What is the difference between weather and climate? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere of a place at a short period of time. It can change from day to day. Climate is the average weather condition of a place over a longer period of time. Climate keeps on changing. It does not remain constant at all places. Third question. Which factor influences weather and the climate? Temperature, distance from the equator, altitude above sea level, distance from the sea, direction of wind are the factors that influence weather and the climate. So these are the first 3 questions. I will keep the screen the same for another minute so that you can read them once yourselves, and then we will go on to the next set of questions. Now, question number 4. What is humidity? Humidity is the amount of moisture or water vapor present in the air. The places near the seas are more humid and make us sweat. So, the amount of water vapor that is present in the atmosphere is called the humidity. The coastal regions are more humid than the interior regions because the wind that blows from this water bodies always carry a lot of moisture along with them. So that is what is humidity. How does the sea affect the climate of a place? How does the sea affect the climate of a place? The climate of the coastal region is affected by the sea. The places near the sea are neither too hot nor too cold. They experience moderate climate. On the other hand, places far from the sea are hot in summer and cold in winter. So how does the sea affect the climate of a place? We know there are a sea breeze and a land breeze. The amount of the humidity is high, right? So because of these kinds of facilities, the coastal regions always have a moderate climate, whereas the interior regions have a extreme climatic conditions. Okay, so cities that are away from coastal regions are always of the extreme climatic conditions. Means what? Yes, if it is hot, then it is extreme hot. If it is cool, then it is extremely cool. Right? Now, why are polar areas cooler than equatorial areas? Why are polar regions cooler than the equatorial regions? So, what are the reasons? Sun rays fall directly on the equatorial region and fall slantingly on polar region. So, on equator, the sun rays fall straight, and on the polar regions, they fall slanting. Okay, so straight on the equatorial region, slanting on the polar region. So, polar areas do not receive more sun rays. So, because of this region, the polar areas doesn't receive high sun rays. Very light sun rays do they receive. Therefore, polar regions are cooler than equatorial region. So, on polar regions, actually, the sun rays have to travel longer distance. It's a slanting, it's going in slanting, and the intensity is less. On equatorial regions, it's just falling straight, it's a short traveling, and very high intensity. Okay, so that is why the polar regions are cooler than the equatorial region, right? Okay, I'll read these 3 questions once again. What is humidity? Humidity is the amount of moisture or water vapor present in the air. The places near the seas are more humid and make us sweat. How does the sea affect the climate of a place? The climate of the coastal regions is affected by the sea. The places near the sea are neither too hot nor too cold. They experience moderate climate. On the other hand, places far from the sea are hot in summer and cold in winter. Why are polar areas cooler than equatorial area? Sun rays fall directly on the equatorial region and fall slantingly on the polar region. So, polar areas do not receive more sun rays. Therefore, polar areas are cooler than the equatorial areas. Okay. So, I will keep the screen also the same for another minute for you so that you can read them once again.